Believe it or not, fascist does not mean someone on the internet that you don't like. So, what is fascism? Here's the backstory you've apparently never been told. The history of fascism goes back 2,000 years to the Roman Empire, during an era that lasted about 2 centuries. Legend claimed that these 2 centuries, beginning in 27 BC, were filled with peace and prosperity due to Rome's vast empire, its powerful army, and its strong leaders. This period was known as the Pax Romana, meaning the Roman peace. In reality, this period was horrific and bloody, filled with war, rebellion, and oppression. But despite this reality, the myth of Pax Romana has stuck and has instilled a strong belief throughout much of the world that a strong central government, a massive military, and unfaltering allegiance to the state by its citizens is necessary for peace and prosperity. It's no accident that hundreds of years later, Benito Mussolini, seeking to restore Italy to the glory of Rome, would choose to adopt the Roman fasces as the central symbol representing his doctrine of fascism. A fasces is a bundle of tightly bound rods representing the power of the state when the citizens are united under a central government. Fasces are typically depicted with an axe or a spear protruding from them, symbolizing what happens to anyone who disobeys the state. The fasces was deeply symbolic to Mussolini. Much like a man gathering individual sticks into a bundle, Mussolini envisioned the state refashioning man, his character, and his faith, by discipline and authority entering into the soul and ruling with undisputed sway. It's fairly easy for you or I to pick up inanimate objects and bundle them together, but doing the same with human beings is much trickier. The quickest way to get people to unite under a fascist system is to create fear, anger, and resentment toward some external enemy. Fascism becomes possible when people thirst for authority, direction, and order. When people are willing to surrender their liberties for safety, they're ready for fascism. Fascism cannot survive in or create perpetual peace. In fact, it sees no utility in peace at all. War alone keys up all human energies to their maximum tension and sets the seal of nobility on those peoples who have the courage to face it. Fascism requires the state to be strong, based on broad foundations of popular support. The fascist state lays claim to and makes its actions felt throughout the length and breadth of the country by means of its corporative, social, and educational instructions, and all the political, economic, and spiritual forces of the nation circulate via the state. As I said before, fascism rejects the idea of individuals having inalienable rights. Mussolini went so far as to say that the individual exists only insofar as he is within the state and subjected to the requirements of the state, and that, as civilization assumes aspects which grow more and more complicated, individual freedom becomes more and more restricted. Until World War II, fascism was regarded as a respectable philosophy throughout Europe, which was constantly embroiled in war, as dozens of countries each sought to achieve the myth of Pax Romana by military conquest and by state authority. The belief in the ultimate power and primacy of the state over the individual had eroded much of the philosophies of liberty, individuality, and inalienable rights that America was founded on. Fasces have been featured heavily in government art and architecture, even in America. The Mercury dime featured a fasces. The statue of Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial is seated on a throne with his hands resting on fasces, and the House of Representatives features a pair of fasces behind its podium. Ultimately, fascist leaders like Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, and Francisco Franco showed where fascism always leads. Thankfully, the Nazi swastika and the racist and supremacist philosophies that it represents have been shunned and tabooed. However, The fasces and the authoritarian and fascist philosophies that it represents have managed to stick around. In 2001, historian Richard Maybury outlined the non-ethical foundation of fascism. Fascists believe that right and wrong are just matters of opinion, and they accomplish nothing except to keep men of action from getting the job done. To a fascist, the only guiding principle is do whatever appears necessary. No exception, no limits. If free trade appears necessary, then we should have free trade. If restrictions on trade appear necessary, then we should have those restrictions. If lower taxes appear necessary, that's okay. And if higher taxes appear necessary, that's okay too. If freedom appears necessary, fine. And if slavery appears necessary, that's just as fine. If murdering millions of innocent people appears necessary, why not? Right and wrong are just matters of opinion, and the state, personified by the dictator, makes the final call on all opinion. There is no line a fascist will not cross if he believes it is necessary. This enables fascists to be political chameleons. On any given issue, fascists will adopt whatever prescription they believe might work. They can appear to be socialists, conservatives, liberals, libertarians, anything. And if they believe conditions have changed and a new prescription is necessary, fascists will switch without any hesitation. And that's the backstory. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep up with all of my videos, and also follow me on Facebook. All This with Aldous is the name of our page, and on Twitter at Aldous Talks. Thanks. Catch you later.